In this video, we are going to look into the RefSwitch option here and the cursor editor. So the use of these two are pretty similar. Simply the way you are going to see the transformation will be different. These two functions will be used when you have a configuration like this, or basically when you want to work with the X, Y, Z axis you normally deal with in different orientation. This can be, for example, here when we have a floor plan with different angle in the building and we want to be able to, for example, copy along X, or use again the X and Y and Z axis with the basic setting also when working on this part of the building. Of course, this could also be applied for any orientation in the model. So the way it works here is we will simply left click on RefSwitch once to set it at first. Then here at the bottom, it's going to ask us to select the edge of the X direction. Here the orientation, you see that you can click on an edge or select 2 points. This will give you basically the X direction. Then here you will need to set the Y. So here, as we see here on this X direction, the Y will actually also fix the Z orientation. So here, if I'm selecting the Y axis here, my Z will be vertical towards the top, basically the same as this one. But if I were to select the one at the bottom, Z will be pointing down. So my orientation will actually be flipped. So here, simply by left clicking, and now if I'm using here the widget to go in a Z oriented view, we can here see that my cursor is aligned with this building area here, but no longer aligned with the basic X and Y, Z of my file. This kind of RefSwitch setting can be saved in scenes. Basically here, when you have the RefSwitch activated and when you create a scene, if you activate the option here, RefSwitch is going to recall the RefSwitch that was used or activated when you last saved your scene or when you created at first. So here, basically I had this one activated. So I don't need here to resave my scene. The information was already here. This option is simply whether you want to be able to bring back that information or not. The same as for the view orientation, basically. So here, if I deactivate the RefSwitch, like this, I can be working on this part of the building. And then I can simply click on my scene to recall the other RefSwitch. Why we would use a scene instead of the actual RefSwitch? It is mostly if you wish to have more than 2 orientation available in your project. Let's say here, if I'm setting another one, so with right click to define the rotation, and I will select something completely different, let's say to work on this orientation here, so from here to here. So here I don't have actually an ability to set the Y-axis, so let's go with this. It should work the same. So we have the X-axis and the Y towards the top. I selected this point, but it basically transfers on the perpendicular to the first X-axis selected. So now here I have another reference switch. So if I deactivate it, I'm back to normal. I activate it, I'm going to this one. But I no longer have access to this specific RefSwitch using this menu. But since it was saved in the scene, I can still recall it. So here, if we go deactivate this, reactivate. So here, the thing is, once you activate the RefSwitch from the scene, you see it activates it here. So basically here, I no longer have access to the one I just made. So what we would need to do here is, of course, setting it if we need more than 2. We'll set the orientation and save a scene. And so now This way, you can work with as many reference as you wish. So then the other function is the x', y', z'. It basically works exactly the same. So we are not going to go through all the same step over again, but this one simply will rotate your cursor instead of the model. So if I were here to look from the top, you see that my cursor is still oriented according to this part of the model, but my main system axis is still the basic one. So the orientation of the model is still the same. But if I were to work and select this element and press 6 along the x-axis, it's not going to be this one, but the x-axis of my cursor. And this is the main benefit of using RefSwitch and XYZ' menu, allowing you simply to use the basic function of using X, Y, and Z instead of having to work with vector, edge, or any other functions that are available but might be more complex than using the basic XYZ orientation. One other thing here to understand is that the RefSwitch is not only for the configuration we just looked into, but everything. So here, for example, if I would like to work, for example, on that roof plane, still in 3D. So of course here I could go in a 2D plane and work in that 2D plane as I would normally do. But if I want to work on stuff here in 3D and use the XYZ, for example, I would like to copy this along X, so basically to this one. Here in 3D, it might be a bit more complex than working in X and Y axis. So here, if we were to set a RefSwitch, I could actually say, okay, this will be my X-axis, and that's my Y's. So now, if I select this element, you see, I'm actually working as if I were working on a floor system. So 6 and X. So again, you can also work and set RefSwitch to match an element to have simply access to easier function. So I hope that the RefSwitch trick here will be useful. And again, keep in mind that by assigning them to scenes, you can actually work with more than what you would normally have access to using only the menus on the left side.